Hello, how are we doing, everyone? It's good to be back. How are you feeling today, Brady?
I'm feeling great, and we've got a hell of a matchup tonight between Monkeys Doom and Iceborn Black. As you know, on What's It Pretty, that's Turk. And like I said, it's a hell of a matchup tonight. Both of these teams at the top of the table there in Group B. Both of them with a 5-1 record, actually shared with a third team, Neogen Xenos. I believe a team that we watched in one of these past weeks. All these teams are exceptionally good. We're in the last week of our regular season, so these teams are locked for playoffs. What they're fighting for right now is that seeding position. Can they take first in the group? Can they tie for first in the group? Or are they going to drop down to that third, maybe even fourth place spot? I'm not sure they can drop down to fourth. No, they can't drop down to fourth. Drop to the third place spot.
That's right. That really is the question at this point. Yeah, seeding does matter so much, obviously, moving into these playoffs when we get into these best of fives. So where it's really going to start to shine. So as we mentioned there is another team in contention. We've got Neogen right now. Now, if Neogen, correct me if I'm wrong, Brady, but if Neogen goes 2-0 tonight, they've pretty much locked in the spot for first place. Is that correct?
Yes, as Monkeys Doom and Iceborn Black both have I believe it's a losing record between them and Neogen. Neogen also is only tied in terms of game score with Iceborn Black. So assuming Neogen 2-0s, which is what they are expected to do tonight up against Dorado Gaming Theta, there's no real chance of either of these teams taking sole possession of first place, but assuming they drop a game, if Iceborn Black can take a quick 2-0, can make that happen, there's a possibility for them to take that instant first place spot.
That's right, and it matters so much here as we do get ready to move into draft here. So this is exciting here as we do kind of contest with this first, second, and third place, all these seeds. You do wonder how these teams have prepped up and what they really plan to do here. So you can already see Ice with this blue side here. This B1 pick is going to be something that I'm really paying attention to. I wonder if they go for something like the Pantheon, if they go for something like the Varus as well, more of those neutral style champions. Pantheon, you can flex quite a bit, but the Pantheon, you can already see MKD's more than happy to take that off the table. So we see the Hwei from Ice and the Pantheon from MKD.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we see the bans end up, I think, pretty similarly to what we saw at the end of MSI there. A very exciting end with that Gen G T1 matchup. No spoilers. If you haven't seen it, go check it out if you can. But right now, we're focusing more on this Ice MKD matchup. We already see, like you said, that Pantheon, the Hwei. The Gragas and the Rel also banned away. So a lot of engage options already taken out alongside that Sivir for some of that safety in the bottom lane being taken away from Jacob.
Yeah, the Gragas ban really sticks out to me right out of the gate there. Patho's been playing a lot of that Gragas, and it's a really strong weak side style champion. Obviously something that MKD really likes to be able to play towards, so taking that off the table, of course you still have things like the Mundo or the Malphite. Malphite may be a little bit harder to sort of blind pick. We'll probably see that second phase, but we are going to get that B1 Jin right out of the gate, a highly contested champion in MSI, so I'm not too surprised to see that at all. With the Vera still on the table, you can try to match, maybe go for poke, something more of that lethality style, but it looks like instead we're going to see that all-in style right away. More than likely, we're going to see some sort of engaged support, whether it's R2 or whether it's R3, but nevertheless, when you see something like a Kai'Sa, you know that you're looking to dive, you know you're looking to try to get easy access to the back line, and Jin's a pretty easy target for that.
Yeah, Jin is always a champion that makes me nervous when he's drafted this early into a composition because he's a champion that is so weak versus tanks. You think of picks like Mundo, like Alistar, like Galio, even like Pantheon, even though he is banned, these champions that he really does struggle to kill because of his very low tank damage versus his, like, especially against Pantheon, his ability to just, like, his damage is very, it's not coordinated. There's a term for it where it's like telegraphed. It's really easy to block. It's really easy to stop. For champions like Mundo, Pantheon, they can deal with that very easily. So I want to see Ice have a little bit more tank shred. There's that Mundo I was talking about, so I'm already a little worried. But I do see a Taliyah. Taliyah does like to build that Leandry's Torment alongside that Blackfire Torch, so still have some possibility of shredding tanks, but I don't know if you know about Mundo. He's pretty good right now.
He's very strong right now. I'm kind of curious to see what Kennesy's going to end up pairing into that. Now, right now, with that Vi and that Taliyah, you do have that option to go for something like that Rumble if you want. You can get a little bit of that tank shred going on. Have the option to go for something like a Cho'Gath too. I know that Kennesy has been playing both of those champions, but you can see in this, like, this phase one here for both teams looks quite solid. The Mundo call, or the Mundo pick, you call that out, so kudos to you on that one. The Vi Taliyah is something I'm paying really close attention to. That's a really strong 2v2 in that mid lane, and of course, if you unlock that Taliyah champion, she can roam, she can impact the rest of the map, and you're going to really want that, especially with that Jin. You want that Jin to get ahead in lane, and more than likely, just in that individual 1v1, he's going to be able to do that. So, of course, now it's going to be all about these support picks. As you can see, the Nautilus coming through.
There's that Nautilus.
Line picking there. Looks like at this point right now, that Mundo could still technically be a flex in that jungle role. Not so sure if it's going to be, but with a pick like that in R4, then more than likely they're holding off that flex for that R5. You're going to see the Alistar answer right away. Alistar's a pretty stock standard pick into the Nautilus. Makes it a little bit more tricky for the Nautilus to be able to engage into that. So as we round out, pretty solid comps here from both sides. We are going to see that Rumble here too. That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm really glad to see that. So we'll see how well Kennesy can actually pair with that. And now really, we just wait for this R5.
Yeah, I really like the Rumble here. We mentioned already Ice is kind of going to have trouble with tanks, especially now as we see a Galio locked in, meaning that Mundo will be going into the jungle unless it's something strange like Galio or Nautilus jungle. No. I'd expect it to be Mundo jungle, Galio top as we see here. Yeah,
for sure.
I think the Rumble is a great pick, and it's really going to test Monkey's Doom's ability to actually build here, because this is something I mentioned last week. Unfortunately, you weren't here, but somebody did the math on it recently. There's been a lot of Kanik Rookern building versus Rumble. Mathematically, it's actually a very bad pick because you build yourself a lot of HP that Rumble already shreds, whereas something like the Force of Nature that can be stacked up to near max up against the Rumble Q gives you a lot more value. You get a lot more pure magic resist, and yeah, you don't get that magic resist shield, but you also get the movement speed to get away from the harpoons and from the autos. It's a very good item against him, and I'd love to see at least one of these MKD tanks pick up that item.
For sure. Yeah, we'll have to pay really close attention to that top side. Generally speaking, for MKD, with just what you can see in the draft, something like that Gragas, that tells to me like that's more of a weak side style like team comp. You like top, you just kind of leave top alone. You play through your mid, you play through your bot lane, and try to accelerate the game through there. But of course, if you do save that R5 for that Galio pick, Galio is a classic counter into that Rumble. So I really like what MKD did in that instance here. And of course, it's going to come down to how well can you pilot that Rumble in these team fights, because in isolation in that 1v1, yeah, you're probably not going to be as strong into that Galio. Obviously, Galio does well into the magic damage, so we're really going to have to pay attention to that Rumble, see how well they can actually sync up here, because they have really easy go buttons on the side of Ice. You have your Vi to be able to pull trigger, there's your primary engage, you also have the Alistar for another primary, and then everybody else is secondary, tertiary, and Jin's going to be more than happy if they're pulling trigger first and they're engaging into the enemy team. Now you look on the opposite side and you flip the coin. MKD, if they're the ones engaging, then Jin's going to have a really tricky time to be able to deal with that, as is Taliyah. Really all the carries, including the Rumble. So who pulls trigger first? Who's actually the one to get set up? Who's the one who's decisive? Those are really the questions here that are going to answer and define this first game.
Yeah, I did mention early in the draft that I was worried about a Jin in a draft like this because he is very low damage versus tanks, and MKD have spotted that out nicely. But the thing that I now worry about for MKD is their draft is fairly low damage. You're dealing with a Mundo in the jungle who, while he is Mundo and will deal damage eventually, it takes him a little bit to get there. You have Galio, and yeah, if he builds AP, if he goes like Roa into Cosmic Drive, maybe a Leandries, he'll do a bit more damage, but Ryze is going to take a while to scale up, and if Kai'Sa's going the AD build that we're expecting her to go in a composition like this, it's going to take her a little bit to get online, and I think Ice has a very strong early game. You have the Vi, you have the Taliyah, both champions who, as soon as they hit level 6, they are on the map, they are dangerous, they are threats. Jhin Alistar, which is a great 2v2 lane. They do a lot of damage in the early game, and they're able to actually pressure a lane like Kai'Sa Nautilus. So it's really going to be a matter of can MKD actually survive the early game and get to the point where they do deal damage, or is Ice just going to start running them over from minute 1?
It really is the question at this point. And of course, you can see a little bit of cheeky shenanigans already starting here.
You have a
MKD.
Nautilus, you got to do it.
That's right. You can just see this 5-man moving in here, and Husky Templar in arguably the worst spot you could possibly be, because if you don't place a ward in this bush, I'm guessing that this is probably what can happen to you right here. Oh,
bad pathing from just Bobo is gonna get spotted out. The ward does end up dying, so they will get that information, but if Bobo pathed a little bit better, they're stuck to that bottom side wall. You can stay out of vision for pretty much the entire time walking up to that brush, and that definitely could have been a kill. And that's a first blood lost for MKD. We'll have to see if they can get it back, but like I mentioned, I don't think their early game is the best here, so they're really going to have to work for it.
Yeah, I mean, when I look down in bot lane, like, you're level 1, arguably, MKD might be able to come out ahead just because Alistar struggles in that level 1. If you only have your Pulverize, it could be a little tricky. But unfortunately, you just don't have as much push as the Jhin does, so I think Ice has got that. You look at mid as well, it's probably the same thing there. Topside's the one that I'm really wondering about. How well is Tennessee able to deal with this Galio here? As you can already see, both of these laners are already looking to contest and play around these waves as much as they possibly can, and it's all about this push right now early. As you can spot kind of quickly, we take a look at the junglers here. You can see that they're mirroring each other on the opposite side, so what that tells me is that Hypnotic Viper on this Vi is going to be moving down towards that bot side, trying to impact that bot lane as much as possible. Aceling has the opportunity to try to do some sort of a 3-camp gank bot. More than likely that's not going to happen. You could split the map bot as well, but with that ward being placed on that top side from Ice there in the enemy jungle, you probably know that Mundo's pathing top, so focusing really heavy MKD is on this top side, and we'll have to see if that pays off for them.
Yeah, we did see MKD spot out that ward, so they're fully well aware that Ice has this information. They don't know exactly where the Mundo is, but you got a decent idea of where he is just based on the fact that you know your ward was spotted, you know where he's going to end up starting. Both the junglers, like you said, are just going to be going for full clears early on in this Hypnotic Viper. I think pathing towards bottom lane is the smart option here. Is this ward going to die before the Vi gets spotted? No. I don't see any pings, but in-game comms can always end up coming through for them. So Hypnotic Viper most likely spotted on that Raptor camp, headed towards the bottom side. MKD should be well aware, but I think even if they're not, their bottom lane really isn't in a position to actually end up being ganked. Look at the spot that they're in. Like we mentioned, a weaker early game 2v2 means that they're just going to get shoved under tower for a lot of this early game.
That's right. And when you do have the shove, you also have options now. So with this cannon wave, this is actually slow pushing towards Ice. So that's a nice hook, the dredge line. Good chunk. And
yeah, Deadly Flourish is going to catch Jacob. This is a chunk of HP there. But does have the potion, so we'll be able to get back some of it. Also has the Taste of Blood in the rune set. We didn't actually mention, this Kai'Sa is Hail of Blades, not Fleet Forward, not Press the Attack, which I think have been a little bit more common, as Tennessee now potentially in trouble. Flashes away from the taunt, but is going to get caught anyway. Il Pafo has the face rush, is going to catch up. Iceling did not manage to catch the briefcase there, so Tennessee will walk away. It's straight up Flash for Ghost, but I think if you're Iceling and you're Il Pafo, you're pretty happy with that.
Oh, for sure. That's actually a hero cannon, too. It actually blocked the first cleaver there from Mundo after Tennessee burned his flash. So, little cheeky cannon there. Probably, arguably, saving Tennessee's life. So, flash will be traded for Ghost. Ooh! I think wisely so. We choose to flash. That's a pretty quick pulverize and headbutt in the opposite direction. So, I think Bobo made the right decision there, Brady.
Yeah, we also see the something else that has been like the real MSI tech with that unsealed spellbook on Willie here on that Alistar. just making sure that you have that utility. I mean, we saw over the course of MSI how many smite steals people got. I wouldn't say that we should expect to see a lot of those today, but just having the utility of swapping from Ignite to something like Heal, like Exhaust, even Ghost or Teleport, just for that extra map mobility, can end up being so huge for your team. Just having that unexpected teleport to come through, make a play on top lane, or you make a play roaming to top lane, and then you just teleport back bottom lane, and hey, it's like you lost no time at all.
That's right, yeah. That Unsealed Spellbook, it scales really well into the mid and into the later game because what you mentioned right then and there. And I think a really big underrated ability there, or Summoner spell, I should say, that you can actually take will be that TP. And if we do see that coming through there from Willie, you just being able to burn that TP, no problem. You still have your Ignite available right afterwards. So things look pretty good there for Willie and Husky if they're able to get out of this lane here. And so far, so good from them. No real CS lead being accrued from either side. You can see at top, it's 2 CS, negligible. You can see 10 CS with Core in there, but I believe that there's a stacked wave coming in. So Warlock should be able to farm a little bit of it, but a pretty stock standard early game when it comes down to things here. Just trying to clear as many of these waves as you can, farm up whatever gold you can, and at this point right now with the neutrals objectives now for the first time coming up, you can see Hypnotic Viper making that move and starting this dragon with the bot prow that he has and even mid prow. So
Yeah.
Ice so far so good, and kudos to them.
Yeah, I think they'd like to see this early game a little bit more accelerated, but the problem is these lanes have been so pushed for them. We saw Tennessee get punished by having that top lane pushed out just that little bit too much. This bottom lane for Ice has been practically underneath the red side tower for this whole time, as Jacob is going to sidestep that Deadly Flourish nicely, but it is going to allow them to get the Chem Tech Drake at the very least, grab that extra tenacity and heal and shield power, so they'll get something for it at the very least, but I think the game might be going a little too slow for them, as Iceling is actually going to manage to get a little topside invade here. Unfortunately, no camps for them to grab, but, you know, you get the information, which is nice, as Kapatha will get a nice little trade there with that phase rush, and unfortunately for Tennessee, had that overheat, so was not feeling like they could trade back too easily.
Yeah, and Iceling was actually spotted there in top side as well. You saw a couple words come down in that pixel bush, so they knew exactly where that Mundo was at that time right there.
This is a
And
big bait to lose.
100% it is. There's no question with
Oh,
it. You can also see the
we're
swap
actually getting a
coming through
swap.
right here. Yeah, so this is a
Yeah,
really
this is
smart move here. Really smart.
Yeah,
'Cause
this
now
is
they can
another thing
actually
we
play
saw a
for-
lot at MSI.
Yep, that's right. You're going to see this 6-minute timer, which is great. It's going to be set up for those grubs here. And now, of course, you're going to have that strong set in the top. Looks like MKD has been able to sniff this out here. Good reset timer from them. They're going to be a little bit behind the punch, a little bit down in tempo. Might miss a few minions in the process, but equally so, they're going to at least be able to match the swap here. But really good job here from Ice so far, controlling a lot of this early game. And it's only 7 minutes in, but nevertheless, getting one dragon right now can obviously give you the opportunity to be able to stack the dragons in about 10 minutes, or it also can give you the opportunity to say, screw it, we're going to leave the dragon alone. We're going to play for something else cross-map wise.
Yeah, I do think it's also nice for them that it's not, in fact, a Chemtech soul. Not only would that be really bad for them to play against, looking at the tanks that they have to get through, but also just in general, you're a team that doesn't really need the Chemtech soul that much. It's not bad to have, but with Mountain being the second one, you'd much rather one of these offensive ones, your Infernal, your Hextech, as we got a potential engage, but Willie's going to counter it with that headbutt pull. Boba's going to take a bit of damage, but Willie can't stack that stun in time. So Boba will walk out with just a couple of potions ticking. Though with Hypnotic Viper in the area and level 6, they're setting up for a potential dive.
Yeah, we have options here too. Hypnotic Viper, he
Oh,
can look
Corrin.
for this dive. Bobo's chunk quite quick, and more importantly, Willie has a 6 now.
We
so
talked about it in the
Bobo's
draft.
this
The
dive.
level 6s for this mid jungle duo. They're going all in onto the Kaisa, and it's first blood over to Hypnotic Viper. Willie with that Unbreakable Will is going to tank up the turret. Beautifully executed by Ice. Will give them 2 free kills.
You almost get the goosebumps there. It's also coordinated. It's also textbook there. You get that swap. You prep up for the grubs. You get that level 6 on that Alistar. You have 4 members in that top side ready to go right off that timer. You pull trigger. You force a dive, and it's as easy as it could possibly be. And it's so easy, in fact, that Jacob can't even burn a splash. There's no need. What's the point? You know that you're already dead. The CC's there. It's coming through. You're getting layered, and at that point, you just accept your fate. At this point now, Ice gets the first dragon. They also get the grubs. They get the first blood. We'll see what Aisling is able to do here, though, as he moves in.
Has the Ghost on. Smite's going to come through for Hypnotic Viper, so they'll get those 2 grubs, but Iceling just wants to keep walking forward. Has that ultimate proc, but the Ignite ticking down. Iceling taking so much damage, and this is a Mundo without Flash. They're going to try and donate it over to Jin, but Hypnotic Viper says, yeah, I'm just going to take that one. Don't want Mundo getting a cheeky Smite in here. So they will manage to not finish off the third grub. It will eventually get picked up, but Willie tried for some cheeky shenanigans, just did not get it in time. Boba managing to flash out Means that the Nautilus will escape, but you lose your jungler, you lose the grubs, and Ice maintain a handy control of the early game.
And MKD, you can see they try to force tempo to be able to get back as we do watch this replay here. And this is what we were highlighting
This is
before. Just the
beautiful.
coordination. Yeah, the coordination on this is fantastic. As soon as you see Willie tick with that level 6, you know exactly what's going to happen here. And there's no time wasted at all. That flash is going to come through, chain CC, and there's just nothing that you can do in this situation. The barriers burn, that's nice, but you're still going to go down, and that's going to be 2 kills going there. Of course, the grubs are going to be following suit right after that. And at this point right now for Ice, they've just been able to do such a good job controlling as we move towards this mid game here very soon within the next 4 minutes. But Ice has been more than ahead here. You can see that 3 grubs is excellent. The first dragon's fantastic too. And once again, instead of just keeping their bot lane in that top side staying stagnant, they're actually swapping once again. So they're going to get their strong side in the bot lane, now being able to contest for this dragon. So Ice has definitely done their homework, probably watched a lot of MSI, and if not, then they know exactly what they're doing anyways. So Ice is looking very strong here so far.
It's just a great meta read game 1 here for Ice, and Monkeys have had a little bit of issues, I would say, in the earlier parts of the season, especially. They ended up swapping around a lot of their players in terms of roles to just try and get things back on track. And ever since that week 1 loss, they have been undefeated since then. Like we mentioned at the top of the day, 5-1 throughout the regular season, looking to try and finish out strong here. But they're playing one of the best teams in the league, not just in their group. So tall order for them as Kennedy trying to defend against the dive here. That equalizer is not up just yet. That cooldown pretty close, but not close enough. He's going to be forced to just back away and give up a lot of plates on this topside turret.
And this is a good answer from MKD here. We saw originally there of the first grubs, they tried to force tempo, as we do see.
Oh, Patho wants to flash, but Kennedy will trade that flashback. Had that equalizer down, so did get most of the wave. Willie's in the area, but 2v3, I'm not sure they have enough that they're actually going to manage to do anything, and it looks like everybody will just back off. Nobody wants to take that super risky play.
Yeah, it's a good cross map from MKD at the end of the day. You know that you can't contest a dragon at this state. We're going to see once again. Willie's in the wing, though.
Yeah, Willie's in the wing. Warlock is getting that realm warp in, but the dive is already executed onto Kennedy. It's just a matter of can he stay alive long enough, and yes, he can. Now forward in, suddenly Warlock's the one in trouble as Kennedy with that flame spitter will pick that one up. Iceling trying now to just kite away and keep the rest of the team safe. Everyone else will back off, but a great counter dive shown off by Ice as well.
Yeah, MKD, I feel like they just missed their timer there. If they were able to pull off that dive 45 seconds ago, give or take, maybe there's an opportunity for it, but staying in that top side gives Willie the opportunity to roam towards top, be able to contest that as we do see Husky. Oh, fortunately for him, dodges the taunt.
Putting in a little work for the Jhin. He's actually just walking back at Il Pafo, and suddenly he's the one in trouble as Hypnotic Viper with that Flash Vault Breaker, and has the cease and desist as well. We'll just donate the kill over to his AD carry. And this is just clean League of Legends from Ice.
It's a clinic ready. Yeah, kudos to them. They're reading the map, but they're reading it so well. And a lot of this, too, it's the unsung hero really is Kennedy. He's not giving up anything in the process. He knows exactly where the jungler is for the vast majority of the game. He's not dying to random dives or anything like that. So he's holding up his end of the bargain. The rest of the team is being able to carry through it and push that much more with the advantage that they're able to get on the opposite side of the map. And the fact that Willie was able to get up there and then prevent that dive from happening as well just means that you're winning now on bot side, you're winning on top side, and the gold lead's starting to really show here. Only 13 minutes in, and we're sitting at what, 4K? Not very
just
good at quick math,
just about 3K, yeah.
And
I think the other big thing. The other big thing for them as well is they've distributed the kills pretty much exactly the way they want to. It kind of feels bad that Corrin hasn't gotten any of them, but the Talia is not particularly gated by gold. I would say once she gets that first item, her utility is still going to be her utility. Vi likes to have those extra items, and Jhin, especially an early game champion like this, needs to start snowballing, needs to start pressing his advantage. So the fact that he's already got that collector, so huge for this Ice team. And the other thing is they already got that Mountain Dragon alongside the 3 Grubs and alongside that Chemtech Dragon means they have those upgraded boots in inventory as Bobo is going to look for a potential engage onto Willie here, who will eat a lot of damage. Is going to be forced to use that ultimate defensively. Maybe something punishable by MKD on the next play they make, but nothing doing against the ulted Alistar.
Yeah, it's
Ooh.
tricky at this point even still. Willie with that half HP is inevitably going to heal up as we do see the curtains being called.
They're looking for another dive. Curtain call. Corrin is in the area. Jacob has to try and dodge the fourth shot. Flashes away, but the fourth shot will come through. Husky Templar Sniper Supreme. Now Iceling and Warlock trying to chase down Corrin and Willie. They know Willie doesn't have the ulti. Has the flash, so we'll be able to walk out. Husky Templar no in trouble as Bobo's going to get that ulti up onto Willie, but it doesn't do enough damage to kill. Tennessee now teleporting in is going to do plenty of damage to Iceling. The equalizer, the red carpet to stop Iceling from walking away. And Husky Templar will pick up another kill on the Jhin. Play not even done yet, though. Hypnotic Viper and Corrin hunting down these members. They know Warlock's under tower. They know Bobo doesn't have the health to sustain anything. Teleport coming in from Willie thanks to that unsealed spellbook. But I don't know if they've got this dive without that Alistar ulti. Gonna get hooked off that teleport. Bobo's gonna eat a lot of damage, but so is Willie. Warlock's gonna try and chase that down. Does manage to get it with the spell flux. But on the other side, El Patho caught rotating. Corrin will pick that one up. Jacob now back in the fight. 4v3. Hook goes out from Bobo, but not one that they want as Warlock's starting to get shredded under tower. And Husky Templar has the damage. Hits the Deadly Flourish as well. Barrier from Jacob. The Knight's Vow not going to be able to do enough. Just Bobo. 1 HP away. Gets flicked. Corrin a double kill. And Ice stays supreme in this game number 1.
They're just doing such a good job of controlling the pace of this game, and it's accelerated so much. They're like 7k ahead right now, which is just ludicrous. That is so much gold at 15 minutes. It's actually crazy. Actually crazy. And it's a clinic. I mean, it really is at this point here, as we can finally see this second dive in this top side here. You see Jacob just trying to be able to deal with it. The flash being burned, but the pressure from the side from Corrin, and of course the curtains called there from Husky. And you can see the chases coming through here, but it seems like a bit of a split call on the decision on like the targeting here. Makes it tricky. You can see the depth charge being used there on Willie, but Aceling's going to go down in the process here. And I believe the first kill is going to come through here from MKD off the back of Warlock. We're just going to see this TP here, and of course, if it was the old TP, that minion would stay alive, but unfortunately for Willie, it doesn't here. He's going to get chunked by the turret, and then, yeah, that final spell flux will finish it, but Ilpatho's going to also die in this Tribush, so once again, this numbers advantage is going to favor Ice as they slowly and methodically chip away at the members of MKD. It's a good sidestep from Warlock, but the damage is just too much. As soon as that root comes in through here too, so much damage extra, and just it's so clean to be able to watch. Just bit by bit, you're slowly picked away.
Oh, Warlock is going to get CC'd out of the Realm War. Willie has that Unbreakable Will this time around, so he's going to eat those turret shots for breakfast. Turret's going to fall. Warlock's going to go down. El Patho has to flash out. Is on the run. Hypnotic Viper, though, does not want to let him go. Bolt Breaker, cease and desist. It's a killing spree for Hypnotic Viper, and Ice are showing why they're the best team in the league.
As they pick up this tier 2 here, we're going to see a couple objective bounties go down for the side of MKD, so not all is lost in that sequence, but the way that Ice is responding and the way that Ice is making moves on this map is just something to really pay close attention to here. For this game 1, it almost feels at this point right now that MKD cannot do anything to get their way back into the game. That doesn't mean that they can't, but realistically, when you look at it, if Ice is playing the way that they continue here, or that they have been and they continue to do that, then it's going to be very difficult for MKD to be able to answer. But picking up 2 objective bounties there is nice. Of course, right now this third dragon will be going down from Ice as the tier 1 bot and tier 1 mid fall. So more gold continuing to just fill and line the pockets of Ice, and pretty much every member minus Willie here has an objective bounty in and of themselves. So Ice very much poised here for this mid game. They're already strong. You can see those 2 items on that Jhin, that rapid fire being completed with more gold in the bank to spend here too. Jacob and Bobo have been able to try to get something here as we do see this next dive coming through here. The Realm Warp's going to be started, but as soon as that CC comes through, Warlock's not going to have a chance. And the Galio ult's going to follow through, but the turret's also going to die, so now you don't have any support from that. You try to get away, but the easy guaranteed CC from a Hypnotic Viper and Willie just layers so perfectly, and there's nothing that you can do about that.
Yeah, and while this has been all of the kills going to the rest of the team, all these Ice carries picking up as much gold as they need to, this has been a support clinic from Willie. Great use of the unsealed spellbook, let alone on that topside play, staying out of vision to make sure that the counter dive was able to work, tanking up these turrets with the Unbreakable Will, not leaving turret aggro too early, making sure the team will guaranteed to survive the dive. If you're a support player trying to learn how to get better, like me maybe for instance, this is a guy you want to watch to see how you really can improve.
Of course, and a lot of this comes down to draft too. Like, it's the little things that make the biggest of differences. In that 2v2, Husky and Willie will have that advantage. They will have tempo. They will have push. So they've been able to abuse that so well. from making all those plays bot side to get that first dragon off the prow that they had. Then they swapped their lane, moved up towards that top side to be able to contest for the grubs, being able to play for that stronger 2v2. Then once again, they swapped bot to be able to play for the second dragon, and it's just been a clinic on the back of those two here. They have been able to control so much of the pace of this game, as has every other member, mind you, but really that bot lane for Ice has been the highlight for me.
Yeah, we mentioned it in draft, the fact that the bottom lane 2v2 would be stronger as Bobo. That's not vision that you're allowed to clear. The seismic shove flick back. Bobo is just gonna drop. Kendisi now potentially in trouble. Drops the equalizer, but catches absolutely nothing. As Warlock will manage to get something back, and they'll get the wave into the turret, so they have a chance to at least get an objective bounty, but look at how much they're losing on the top side to get it.
Yeah, tier 2's gone for sure. I don't think there's going to be any damage to follow suit on the tier 3, but nevertheless, Ice is just going to continue to just set up as much deep vision as they possibly can in whatever quadrant they want, and they're going to be able to control a lot of the pace of the game. This Delia wall is so cheeky.
That's mean! That's just mean! Deny the second Herald charge. Warlock is going to use that Realm Warp just to make sure that there's no cheeky plays happening as players were missing on the top side of the map. Managed to get it just fine. They'll get the bottom lane turret at the very least, but it's like when you see the Bard ulti used to deny it. It just feels so mean.
It's been a long time since I've seen that there. The angle, too, is so clean from Corrin there. Definitely feeling himself here for this game number 1, and no doubt with a 14-2 scoreline, being able to prevent that second charge. It's just a nice little cherry on top, and as you can see the rest of the members of Ice now, they're continuing to push up here. I'm hoping to see them start up a lot of this vision here, this deep vision in the bot side quadrant here of MKD, controlling all of that jungle, prepping it up, and then just basically choking the members out from being able to contest for the soul. And I think Soul was really the name of the game here for both of these teams. If you want to be able to group up and actually force these team fights, then the Dragon Soul, all the added bonuses and everything else that you get with it really makes a difference when you group. So what we're seeing right now, Ice is choosing just to start up this Atacon. Equally so, good decision. He's like, uh-oh.
The pushback is denied, but it doesn't matter. Popped by the Jhin, and you know, it doesn't really matter how little damage Jhin does versus tanks if the tanks aren't allowed to be tanky, as it's just the shred coming through. I mentioned the Leandry's build for Corrin on this Talia Leandry's, as well as that Bloodletters for Kendisi, so they're tanky, they do a lot of damage, and it doesn't matter if Jhin goes for the Mosquito build, in my opinion, that is the Collector and the Rapid Fire. When you're this far ahead, you do as much damage as you need to.
Yeah, you're just so accelerated, and Ice is recognizing that too. And I was harping on them a little bit to go set up vision control on that bot side quadrant. Honestly, I was wrong. This makes the most sense to me, being able to play for that Atacon, controlling the pace of the top side of the map. Makes way more sense. Look at your timer now. It's 40 seconds before Dragon. If you get your members prepped up to be able to contest and fight for this, this is your real window. Of course, now, Viper and the rest of the members do need to be careful. MKD is doing exactly what they should do, and they're trying to get bodies, but of course it's been snuffed out by that ward, and that ward right then and there is an absolute game changer here. Of course, now the rest of the members from Ice can actually get set up here. They can get mid control as soon as they have mid prow. They can start to force and push in. Now Kendisi just needs to be the one who's careful here. And uh-oh.
Yeah, he's gonna get caught by the taunt, and the Rune Prison should just be able to go down nice and easy here for MKD. And this is what you want to do when you're behind. You overload on sides. You make the right plays on those side lanes. You try and take unfair fights, and maybe this is not the one to take, as El Patho is already down under half. Bobo looks for a hook, but is a little bit wide. 4v5, how confident are you feeling, Ice? Because you don't have to take this dragon. This is your soul, but it might not be yours to take. Hypnotic Viper's in the area, looking for some sort of entrance. Willie pops out Unbreakable Will early, finds the ground pound, but it's just onto Warlock. They get the root as well. Corrin's going to be able to separate the fight, but the Realm Warp is back over the wall, and suddenly they're on top of Huxley Templar. Shut down. It goes over to just Bobo, but he's looking for more. He's going to find Corrin with the hook as well. Iceling just continues to walk over to Mundo. Can, in fact, go where he please. Warlock now on a killing spree, and MKD have taken themselves a solid fight. Iceling wants to chase it down, but with the mini wave there, it's just a little bit too hard. And MKD, despite being down 5k gold, make the fight happen. They'll take control of the Dragon Pit. They'll take control of the enemy jungle. Now they just need to go back and take the dragon before something bad happens.
MKD find the smallest window possible. Finding that pick on Kendisi allows them to get this 5v4 in Ice. Instead of pushing that mid tier 2, trying to contest it there, they choose to actually force this fight in that 4v5. And that Realm Warp really is the difference maker here. And as of course we can see, I'm glad that we actually get the chance to spot this replay, because this is exactly where things go awry here for the side of Iceborn. As soon as you're picked off in the side from Kendisi, and arguably you should know, we saw the 3 members sitting in that river bush where that pink is now, and as we see the rest of the members jockeying for as much prio as they possibly can. You're going to see this Talia wall very soon come in from the side, trying to split the members up, trying to make it a 2v3. And while it makes sense in theory, the Realm Warp is going to be able to counter that here. So Willie goes in trying to trade, but nobody else is able to follow with the numbers disadvantage. And here we go right here. This is where the fight is immediately won. That Realm Warp being able to get access to that backline, the chain CC follows through. As soon as Jin goes down, the rest of the members are soon to follow as well. And it's a really good decision from MDK. Arguably the only decision, the only opportunity that they would have had to be able to get back into this game. And while they're definitely not in it just yet, it's at least an opportunity for them here as we do switch back to live.
Yeah. It's a big deal to be able to play like this from behind. It shows not only a lot of tenacity, but a lot of smarts. And I think it means that this series will not be as one-sided as this first game is showing. I do also want to point out it's unfortunate. The only thing that I think for MKD that went wrong there is the fact that the shutdown on Husky Templar went over to Bobo. Yeah, the support's getting gold. It's not bad, as Warlock is going to get shoved up, knocked up, has the Seraph shield, but it's just going to get locked out and deleted. Exhaust out onto Jacob, TP in from Tennessee. That equalizer is doing a ton of damage, and MKD thought they had the opportunity, but they're just going to get turned around. A double kill over to Husky Templar, make it a triple kill. Give him all four, the quadra kill for the Jin, and a clean ace for MKD.
Quadra kill for Jin is very poetic, Brady, as we are going to close out this first game here. Ice absolutely putting on a clinic here. 25 minutes, basically putting the nail in the coffin there. And I could kind of respect the Realm Warp there from Warlock, but obviously you try to bite off a bit more than what you could chew. And of course that chain CC coming through there from Viper, being able to close things out with that ultimate just makes things so much easier. And of course, yeah, these two Nexus turrets are going to go down, following the Nexus right after here. And why not get one more consolation kill right before
one more
falls?
just for the road. And I was just complimenting them on their ability to play from behind, but they just get a little overzealous there. They make a good play, they're starting to feel themselves, but you're still down a lot, and you're still in the face of a lot of CC. So when you're that Rise, you're kind of just realm warming into death. A good first game from Iceborn Black. As much as we're saying MKD played the back half of that game fairly well, the entirety of that game was really Iceborn's to lose.
100%. There's no doubt about it at all. And it really is off the back of that 2v2 priority in that bot lane. Because you can see Husky Templar and Willie, when they are able to get that move first, they can really use and they can really abuse that advantage there. And constantly, they just had the Kaisa and the Nautilus pushed into their turret, which means, of course, they can't respond to any plays. And if you're stronger in the 2v2 and you're swapping constantly, you're forcing the enemy team to try to react to you instead of them being able to get something set up on their strong side. Then, of course, that's where things are really going to be able to come together for you. So for this game number 2 here for Monkeys, I really hope to see them get a really strong draft for their bot lane. I think that's the one way where they're able to get back into it here, and I'm glad we get to see this final here highlight. You see this Realm Warp just comes in, and you can understand it, right? That's right. The idea is, it kind of makes sense a little bit, but it's just a little bit too much. Maybe you feel the pressure here, and it is an insurmountable at this point right now, chance for you to be able to fall back into it. As you can just see the rest of the CC coming through. It's just too much damage at this point. You're basically hitting them with the wallet here. And I mean, Corrin on this Talia played fantastic too. Like, everybody just played so pretty.
Everybody from Iceborn was playing really well, which is why it feels so bad for me to say that they end up winning this game in such dominating fashion, because Monkey showed that they know how to play from behind. They ended up making the correct plays, especially around the Dragon Pit, forcing Iceborn into a 4v5, getting that pick, overloading the side lane, playing away from the strong points of Iceborn. It was really good stuff, but one time they make the play to full-on engage, to full-on play into Iceborn, Warlock gets CC'd up. He can't even play in the fight, even through that Seraph shield. And after that, it was just all over.
I completely agree with you. And arguably, too, looking back on it, right from level 1, I'd almost wonder if the game plan from Monkey's Doom was actually misguided. And what I mean by that is, you saw the Mundo starting bot side pathing towards top. I don't think it's worth pathing towards top there. I don't really see too many opportunities. I mean, in isolation, the Galio is going to win into the Rumble anyways. I think it's really important to focus on that bot lane as much as you can. And not even just the bot lane, but getting priority for them so you can start stacking those dragons. Because I already mentioned it too. When you want to group up, when you want to force those fights, dragons are pivotal for the team. It's pretty much the meta right now. Stack as many dragons as you can. If you have that soul point, then of course you have the opportunity to not contest now. You can start cross mapping, but inevitably once you do get that soul, that's where things really connect with the rest of your team. So I'd say even with the draft, I wouldn't say it's too bad there from Monkey's Doom at all. I think you just needed to try to facilitate your bot lane a lot more because Husky Templar and
Hmm.
Willie, once they do get ahead, they just abuse the priority that they have so well, and you could see it in game one. I hope to see some adaptations from them for game two.
Yeah, that takes me back to minute one, though, of this game number one. The pathing from Bobo there, just coming directly into vision on Husky Templar. If he
Hmm.
stays by that wall, maybe they get the first blood on
Yeah,
that Jin. They set him a little bit behind, set Kaisa ahead, more importantly. And maybe that's a game decider. Maybe that makes the entire timeline of this game vastly different because they don't have as much of that strong 2v2 to play around. But unfortunately, we don't play in the world of ifs, ands, or buts. We play in the world of reality where Iceborn did end up winning game number one. We're going to cut to a short break here before we get into that draft for game number two. We'll see you on the other side, and we'll see if Iceborn takes it 2-0 or if Monkeys are going to fight back. See you then.
see you soon.
Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be jumping in here pretty much right into the draft for game number 2. And Turk, we had a lot to say about game number 1 between the games here. Just those little things that could have been different for Monkeys. And I think our observer, Anti, said it best, that as soon as that first rotation happened, as soon as Ice started moving up towards that top side, Monkeys were playing reactive right up until the point of that soul pick. And it just felt like they didn't have anything else past that.
Yeah, and if you're playing reactive until that pick at that situation, that's what, 23, 24 minutes in the game, something like that?
Just
So
about.
if that doesn't kind of show you the way that that game ended up playing out for MKD, then I'm not so sure what will. So of course we do see the side swap here. The bans are coming through quite quickly, as we do see the Syndra and the Nefiri being taken away. Of course that Pantheon will remain off the table. MKD does flex that champion as well. We're going to see the Hui coming through, and as we do kind of round out these final bans. Of course, now I do wonder what the priority for MKD is going to be. Is it something like the Varus? And I usually default to the Varus because it's a really strong champion. It's
He's just
neutral
good.
yeah, you can pretty much slot into any team comp. You can run the lethality if you want. You have the option to go more of that on-hit style too, and you can pair it with pretty much any support. So we'll see exactly what they want as the final ban comes through.
Yeah, and given that MKD seemed to like the idea of strong bottom lanes at the very least, you pick like Kai'Sa Nautilus because you can play the early game 2v2. Now, granted, it's been a lot less like that recently. There are stronger 2v2s now, like we saw that last game. But the idea of it still stands of, hey, you're playing Kai'Sa Nautilus because you want to play early game, you want to win your lane, you want to put pressure down on the enemy team. And this is something that we saw get banned away in game number 1, but is now going to be available as they're locked in on Sivir now.
Yep. Yeah, the Sivir's really, really strong into the Varus. Varus usually is a champion that's going to be pushing you in. Of course, now with that Sivir, it's going to be the exact opposite. So Varus is going to have a more difficult time. It's really going to rely on the support picks. So you do have the option to go for something like the Karma if you want to play really heavy Prowl in that bot side, but we'll have to see exactly what they want. And it's going to be the Nami. That one's a little interesting to me. That opens up a lot of opportunities here for Ice. You can go something like the Lulu here. You can also go something more engaged. You can just do something like the Rel. The Rel was also taken off the table in that game 1. So we'll have to see as that Jarvan is locked in. That phase 1 for MKD looks a little interesting to me. We'll have to see how well it works out right now, but Ice with that R1, R2 is looking very strong already.
Yeah. As a certified Nami player and Nami enjoyer, Thresh is going to get locked in for Ice. We'll talk about that in a second, but I really enjoy Nami a lot in this current meta. I think she enables a lot of champions and a lot of playstyles as an enchanter. She's got the sustain in lane, so you can deal with poke and you can deal with chip like Sivir likes to do. You do struggle a little bit when you get all in because your disengage pre-level 6 is just relying on that bubble to hit an important target. Thresh Sivir, you've got engage, but I think the Thresh is being picked more for peel here than he is for actual engage and all in, because Sivir, really not much of a champion until she gets at least an item, at least like level 7, level 8. She wants to have that fully maxed out boomerang blade so she can actually deal a bunch of that poke damage. We're starting to see the second phase of bans come through. Mid laners for Ice, top laners for MKD. So those solo lane pools are getting chunked out, and now it's just a matter of, what does Ice have the priority on? Do they want to pick away a mid laner? Yes, they do. It's going to be the LeBlanc for Ice, blind here into the MKD comp. That's confidence.
That's very much confidence. Usually you're going to see that LeBlanc pair with something like that Xin Zhao, really strong early game style, but that LeBlanc almost always is going to give you prio, unless there definitely are a couple counter picks. The Lissandra being a big one. You do have the option to go the Aftershock on the Lissandra as well, just for that added resistances too. So that Lissandra, we'll have to see how well that ends up being piloted here. But I do like that pick into that LeBlanc, and I'm a little surprised to see the LeBlanc coming through as early as what we did. But of course, now it's going to be that R5. So what do you want to pick into this Urgot? If I'm not mistaken, something like, I was going to say an Olaf, but a Cho'Gath works extremely well here too for me as well. So Ice, I mean, at the end of the day, I like the draft from Ice. I'm a little hesitant with that mid lane pick. I don't think it's bad by any means. It's just usually when you do see the LeBlanc, you're going to see a pair with a high agency early game jungler. And of course, Wukong's going to take some time before you're there.
Yeah, the thing that's giving me pause for this ice draft is actually the bottom lane. Like, we saw how well Willie played. The essence of Carrier running through his veins there in that game number 1, playing incredibly well Alistar. But Thresh is a lot more difficult to actually make that effective. With Alistar, you hit your combo, you tank up turret with your ultimate, you're doing well. You're making good map plays, especially with that unsealed spellbook. With Thresh, you're having a little bit more of a struggle. If you don't manage to land your hook, you're really just a Flay and a Lantern bot. A Flay is going to be good because it's going to stop Iceling from actually getting that engage on the Flag and Drag, as long as you get your timings right. You can't really interrupt the Urgot. The Sandra's going to come in before you can really interrupt her unless you manage to predict exactly where she's going to land with that frozen path. Willie, the onus is on you to make things happen for your team, because otherwise you're relying on Wukong and Cho'Gath for your engage. Wukong can make it happen. Cho'Gath, a little bit less so.
Yeah, the primary engage is going to really be off the back of Hypnotic Viper on that Wukong. So whether or not he gets accelerated in the process is going to be the main question at this point, because everybody else is secondary, if not tertiary. I mean, hooks are great to be able to land if you have some CC to start the engage. If you're throwing out a hook and you manage to hit it first, that's great. But if you miss, as you mentioned, you're kind of a flay bot. So in this case, at the very least, you're going to be able to interrupt and you will be able to counter that J4. Thresh does really well into that champion, as does Tom Kench. But in this case right here, I really like it. Willie plays a lot of Thresh too here. So of course, that's also going to be a comfort pick going into this game number 2. So I think it's a pretty solid draft there from Ice. As we kind of pivot now, we take a look at the MKD draft. The big highlight for me is going to be that Lissandra. Is Warlock able to get ahead in this 1v1? Because you have that isolation, you have that counter pick. So are you able to accelerate things? You also have a J4 too. J4 is going to be a lot stronger early, and really you're going to have for the first almost 2 clears, which is going to put you right around 5.5, 6 minutes, where you have the agency on that LeBlanc to make those plays. And before that Wukong has his ult, that's really your timer. So we're going to have to pay attention to that J4. Yeah. Can you make something happen within the first 2 clears? If the answer is yes, then MKD is going to be in a fantastic spot.
Yeah, it does really feel like the teams have kind of shifted up in terms of priorities here from draft 1 versus coming into draft 2 here. MKD playing a lot more heavily towards the early game. They have that negation again in one of their solo lanes. The LeBlanc versus Lissandra is very much a... Lissandra is playing to not lose lane. She's going to clear waves. She's going to manage to take a couple of pot shots at tower here and there. She's going to make sure LeBlanc doesn't get super far ahead. But you have a much more aggressive bottom lane. I've played a lot of both sides of this support matchup. I played a lot of Thresh. I played a Nami. I played them against each other. It's really a skill matchup. If Nami can dodge the hook, this is going to be a nightmare lane for Willie and for Husky Templar. But if the hook lands, or if Willie's allowed to just free roam, walk up, or even walk across the map, life's going to get very difficult for MKD very quickly.
Yeah, this to me seems like a no-brainer right now. Both of these junglers should be focusing all of their attention on the spot side. If MKD, if that Varus and that Nami aren't able to get that push into Ice's bot lane, then you're going to constantly be at risk of getting hooked, and that could be a big, big problem for you. And as we talked about too, that Sivir in isolation is going to have more wave clear than the Varus. So, how well are both of these teams able to deal with it? That's going to be the main question. Of course, with that J4, the onus is going to be on MKD here to really get the ball rolling in this early game.
Yeah, that's the big deal coming into this game number 2. If Ice can 2-0 this, they can manage to grab first place. At the very least, or not first place, sorry, second place, as they did lose that matchup versus Neogen. But if MKD can win this, they've got a chance of taking away that second place from Ice. It's Flash Hook. Gonna be instantly flashed away by Bobo. Good respect on that. Just respect the fact that the hook can, in fact, be used there.
Yeah,
it's Hex Flash for Willie alongside that.
Yep.
Alongside the Unsealed Spellbook, too. Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. The Hex Flash is the real kicker there at the end of the day. That's always worth it. You trade Flash for Flash. If you have that Hex Flash, you can always sit in that bush and then just channel it up, pop it. You're always in flare range to be able to follow up. And then, of course, you have your hook, too. So that's definitely a good trade for the side of Ice, and just some good scouting overall. Of course, that ward is going to be placed in that top side quadrant, so they are going to know where Hypnotic Viper is starting. I'm also paying attention right now to this J4 as we see him make his way down towards this bot side, and I really, I really hope we see some sort of like a split map. We see some sort of invade. Otherwise, we're pathing towards top side again, which means we leave our bot lane alone. And in isolation, I just don't think that's the play, Brady.
I can see it for MKD specifically because you have that Urgot in the top side playing against the Cho'Gath. You can try and be a little bit more aggressive in that 1v1, give Urgot a lead and really set the Cho'Gath behind us. Already El Pafo with that Presley attack and with those shotgun knees, Kennesy's going to eat a chunk of damage before that trade is over. Has the Doran shield and does have that unsealed spellbook, so we'll have a little bit of extra sustain in that back pocket, but that's some good early trading for El Patho, and I think that's exactly why Jarvan wants to path up towards this top side.
That would be my guess as well. If you're willing to take those heavy trades early on, try to make the lane as volatile as possible. Here we go, though. This is going to be a level 2 gank here. But
Yeah,
could be
has
selling
no
just a little
flash
bit.
on the Nami. Hook's gonna land. Husky Templar's getting the damage in, but the heal from the Nami is there. And Iceling's already here. Flay used. Bubble's gonna land. Willie now potentially the one in trouble. Already used the heal, and they're just gonna give it over to Jacob. Beautifully done by Iceling, and that's first blood to the Varus.
Old Faithful. When in doubt, level 2 gank on Jarvan. You flip it. It either works or it doesn't.
Look, sometimes it just works. In the immortal words of Todd Howard, it just works.
Sometimes it just works. That's great. And you know what? In this case, it did. And more importantly, too, your top side quadrant is not being counter jungled. So with that ward being placed from Warlock, like you spot exactly, right? Your blue buff's still up. You know that that Wukong isn't there, which means you can now path towards that top side. And with the way that this top lane is going, that could set up for another gank here, too.
Yeah, big deal for MKD having the aggression in the early game. And like we mentioned, getting the lead on that bottom lane. We're going to see that recurve bow first picked up by Jacob, which means we already saw the lethal tempo, but it's now for sure going to be that on hit for the Varus. And combined with the Nami, I think that's really good. This is not really a poke composition for MKD. This is a brawly comp. They want team fights. They want extended fights. They want to pick a target, burst them down, and keep moving forward. And that's something that Varus can do really well as Willie potentially looking for Warlock here. Channeling that Hex Flash is going to get over the wall. Warlock is level 3, so should have that frozen path. Is going to be able to just walk their way out of there. But good pressure from Willie there, just making sure they can get on the map and make their presence known.
Yeah, constantly just trying to move around the map, and at this point right now, you can see Husky moving up towards that top side, so they're going to try to get Kennecy out of this lane state here, even though he's been able to claw his way quite well back with the sustain. Here we go.
Oh, Pafo is going to take a tower shot. Kennecy has the chance to just win the 1v1. El Pafo flashes away. Oh. Kennecy couldn't flash for the auto, but flashes away. Knows that the team is on the come up. Husky, Templar, and Willie are here on the rotate, and El Pafo now the one in trouble. Cheeky. Boomerang blade. Husky Templar is going to find that kill. A nice hook from Willie, but no follow-up on the level 3 Simmer. But a big rotate and a big win for Ice on the other side of the map.
Yeah, that's a super smart decision there from Ice. Just getting Kennecy out of that lane here. You're going to be able to TP, soak up pretty much all of this stacked up wave here too. So things just go from good to better at this point right now for Ice. Being able to net that kill for Husky Templar too. Basically at this point right now, both ADCs are even when it comes down to that gold. That's exactly what you want to see if you are on the side of Ice. And with this lane swap now, things look pretty good. But of course, we have to pay attention to J4.
Play used. El Pafo gets that shoulder flip. Willie's going to get caught by the knockup, and this should just be another dead thrash. El Pafo picks up the kill. Husky Templar now trying to cut it down. Has a lethal tempo stack, so that was a respectable amount of damage, especially with Hypnotic Viper in the wings. They want to continue pushing forward. Iceling just trying to dodge out on a lot of that damage. Husky maybe baiting this, but I don't think Hypnotic Viper has the damage this early in the game, so everyone's just going to end up walking away. And a good counter by MKD is they're going to look for more, but now the bait comes through. Hypnotic Viper, patience is a virtue, and he'll collect himself a kill.
That's really big for the Wukong here. Of course, now you're also going to be able to force El Pafo off of this top side here, which means you're going to deny at least one wave in the process. No real answers being established, as you can see Jacob and Bobo just now taking the reset, paddling up towards this top side, but that's going to be 2 waves basically gone at this point here. And again, Ice just being able to respond there and make a really good decision at the end of the day off the back of Aceling's good decision there, right? We saw the J4 move up towards that top side. The Sivir and the Thresh were overextended. Thresh didn't have the flash at that point right then and there, so you net that 1 kill. That's great, but then you try to get a little bit more. You don't know where the Wukong is, and of course you're going to fall down, and you're going to lose a wave in the process here too. So El Pafo is unfortunately going to be the one who really takes the brunt of all of that damage. You see him now, he's just moving back down towards that bot side, and that CS discrepancy is starting to build there.
Yeah, and I mean, as we get engaged in the mid lane, Warlock is going to pop that Frozen Tomb. Corrin has the chains, though, so we'll get something back. Iceling wants to look for something, but maybe not under turret versus the LeBlanc, so he's just going to walk away from that flag and drag. But this is what we saw in game number 1 from Ice, some aggressive, proactive early game plays. But now MKD is taking it to them. They're not just playing reactive anymore. They're trying to make the play happen first, force Ice to respond, and it's just great to see two good teams play some good League of Legends. This is... Look, if you took the nameplates off and you told me this was an MSI matchup in, like, the Swiss stage, I'd believe you. This is some great League of Legends being played.
It really is here. Both members are rooted here. Warlock's
Oh,
gonna
Warlock.
take a lot of damage.
Whew, a little close
emote,
for
why
comfort
not?
there.
Yeah, why not there? Of course, he is going to miss some CS now. No cover being established in that mid lane, which means, of course, more gold obviously going to waste here. You can see the bot lane, Jacob and Bobo rotating towards mid, trying to cover whatever they can. But one plate should go down there for Corrin in the process. And the Dragon also being started here from Ice. No real contest. The J4
spotted.
is around, but need to be careful.
Yeah, spotted. Flag and drag onto Willy, but you're stuck in a 1v3. Maybe looking for a way to get Hypnotic Viper in, but he's just going to finish up that dragon. Ison's going to get exhausted thanks to that Summoner spell, but Husky Templar spell shields the disdain. Says, I do not care about you, El Pafo. Give me that kill.
Yeah, trying to force tempo. Hypnotic Viper
flashes.
looking more.
Just Bobo flashes over the wall, but Hypnotic Viper is right behind him. Flash from Bobo, but I think should just get picked up eventually. Hypnotic Viper actually doesn't have the range. Bobo's going to be able to walk away, but now Pafo, the one in trouble. That wave is a little bit too big. Urgot's not going to be able to clear that one out. Gets the ultimate off, but Willy beautifully tanking the turret, not allowing his jungler to fall. Jacob now on the rotate. Level 6 on this Varus. They know that Husky Templar shouldn't have Spell Shield for a little bit longer, but he's playing like he does, and he's just going to be able to walk this one out with the Lantern as well. Again, Ice just playing the counterpunch so well.
Yeah, that all starts with Icing, just trying to force tempo back, trying to find some sort of a pick onto Willy there, but of course with the rest of the members sitting there in the wing, the collapse on top of the exhaust to be able to follow, get all of that damage through, net the kill there, and then all the follow-up damage and kills that came through after that, and Ice is just once again being able to control this early game so well. Not only do they get a couple kills in the process, they also secure the dragon, and that's exactly what you want to see, because more importantly than that, your Sivir is now very much accelerated. You're sitting at 3-0 with a 300 gold bounty as we do see some more jockeying in towards this top side.
Yeah, that's going to be the grub started up by Hypnotic Viper. Iceling spotted out by Willy. The wards are here, but I just don't think there's anything that MKD can do with this early game pressure that Ice has. When you're playing a Sivir Thresh lane, you're expecting, okay, maybe when we get like level 8, level 9, Sivir gets one item in inventory, maybe we can start making something happen, but you get her 3 kills in the early game, you start to get her accelerated, your team is up just about 1.5k. You're feeling a lot better about your spot in the game and a lot better about outpacing that on-hit Varus.
Yeah, for sure. And it really comes down to that first initial swap, too, getting Tennessee out of that lane stay here. Uh-oh.
Warlock has the ultimate on Willy, but I just don't think he has enough damage. Hook's gonna land, but now Iceling is here, shuts them down, says Demacia's coming through. Willy will fall, and a nice little pickup there for Iceling.
Iceling's doing a really good job in this game number 2, just consistently being where he needs to be, and at the end of the day, it hasn't worked out every single time, but being able to be a part of all 3 of these kills is exactly what that J4 was drafted for here, so kudos to him at this time right now, and I think he did that on Vision too, if I'm not mistaken here, so you can see Bobo just trying to trade a little bit, chunking Tennessee, but with that sustain of the Cho'Gath, he should be able to stay in this 1v2 quite well, and Ice also... They're not staying stagnant in here. They can also just swap their bot if they want, right back down there just to cover, so...
This is a big deal for, I think, what Ice has done for a lot of their playstyles. They knew Cho'Gath was going to be playing weak side for a lot of this game. He's already got the Unsealed Spellbook. He knows that he's not going to be playing from a state of advantage as Bobo. He's going to be forced to use the wave, but Willy Flash hooks him down. They're going to gift it over to Husky Templar as Bobo will just try and walk away, but unfortunately you can't escape the boomerang blades. Nice support play from Willy again, just showing his stuff on this Thresh.
Yeah, game 1 played exceptionally well on the Alistar. Game number 2, planning to carry the torch here and continue doing that here, and that's just really good heads-up play. And at the end of the day, you know the timer on Bobo, you know that the flash isn't available, so if you're feeling good, you can burn that flash, net that hook, and that's exactly what we saw right there, and that's going to be another kill going for the side of Husky Templar.
4-0-1 now on this Sivir. Essence Reaver completed. Exhaust used by Kennedy thanks to that unsealed spell book. Iceling in the area, so maybe they can make something happen. Flash away from Kennedy before the Cataclysm can come through. But the Fear Beyond Death starts to land. Do they have enough damage to actually get him in execute range? The Cataclysm with the negative synergy. Kennedy's going to be able to walk away. Hook's going to land onto Iceling, and now the Jarvan's in trouble. No mana to get eaten up, but Hypnotic Viper will be happy to slam a stick down into his face. Pafo should be able to walk away behind his minion wave there, but a nice idea from MKD, just countered beautifully by Ice.
How toxic is Unsealed Spellbook though? Like honestly, like a TP
It's
comes
so
through,
good.
like yeah, a TP comes through and it's a Thresh. It's like, oh well, okay, I guess it's a Thresh now. I'm gonna get hooked. I'm gonna get chain CC'd and I'm going to die. So, good.
You try to
read from
engage on
Ice
the Cho'Gath, you get exhausted. You try and continue the play, and suddenly teleport's coming through, and it's the enemy support. Like, what can you do, really?
Yeah, and I'm glad we're going to be able to get to see a replay here from this. And the exhaust coming down initially is going to prevent a lot of this damage, but pay attention to Kennedy. As soon as that flash comes through, he buys so much time. Now look where this fight actually happens. It's so close to their tier 1 turret. Almost taking a turret shot, but at this point right now with that TP from Willie, as we do move in.
Put that on pause as Chains of Corruption are down onto Willie. He's got the box down, but he's just going to get eaten alive. Jacob's going to find that one. The wave is going to knock up too, but can they keep Jacob alive? He's got the barrier. He's managed to sustain, but Husky Templar's on the flank on the Sivir. Tennessee will eat Jacob for breakfast, and now Iceling's the one in trouble. Bobo's going to land a nice bubble onto Husky Templar, but do they have the damage to finish off the Sivir? It doesn't look like they do. Husky Templar still managing to walk it out. Tennessee now potentially the one in trouble. He's going to get started getting focused down. Bobo walks a little bit too far forward, and Corrin will happily take that one up. El Papo now stuck in a 1v3. Has that Fear Beyond Death. Is going to find Kennedy. Will manage to get the Fear, but a nice spell shield from Husky Templar. Can he manage to kite it out? El Papo just needs to find something. Iceling's here is going to be able to finish it off. The Triumph will not keep him alive for much longer as El Papo will finally fall, and Iceling will follow. A good attempt from MKD, but it's a triple kill for Corrin and Ice.
And so much happens so quickly there, Brittany. And at the end of the day, Ice is going to be the ones, once again, to come out in this sequence here. And sitting at 4k ahead, netting 2 dragons in the process, that's great. So here's what we're going to see initially when we're watching the replay. It's a really good pickoff with the Chains of Corruption there coming through from the Varus. But of course, you can see this follow-up CC. Hypnotic Viper being able to get into the backline, chunk all these members. All the disruption here makes it so hard for the rest of the members of MKD to be able to follow up. And Husky Templar, the fact that you survive in this process is pretty mind-boggling to me. You can see the flag come down, but the drag was not available there at that point. Kennedy might have actually been able to interrupt it here. And if Husky Templar survives, then of course your damage is going to survive as well here. And this is where we really want to pay attention to, because this is where Corrin now comes in. And while he deals with the Nami, and he forces off Warlock here on this Lissandra, you see the rest of the members here set up for this 3v1. And Il Patho almost finds that Fear, but once again, that secondary spell shield buys a little bit more time for Husky Templar, which means the rest of the members here can actually collapse. And this now once again becomes a 1v3. And while it's very messy, a lot of things happen. At the end of the day, the fight lasts long enough for Willie to be able to get back up and then actually get set up for this dragon.
Yeah, we did see at the end of that in live and that picture-in-picture, Willie did end up overstaying just a little bit, a bit of a greedy recall, gets caught out at the end of that play. Now we got a play happening on the bottom side here. Kennedy has the knock-up, has that ghost, thanks again to that unsealed spellbook. It's putting in so much work for this Ice squad between Willie and Kennedy. My God. Yeah, Kennedy's just going to be able to walk away there, and poor El Papo just not managing to find anything in these 1v1s here, even with that Black Cleaver.
Yeah, and MKD once again now on objective bounties, and how you claw your way back into this, arguably it's the same as game 1. You want to overload side lanes, find those picks if you can. It's just, I'm a little bit concerned. I'm not so sure any of the members really have the amount of damage to be able to find those picks. It really comes down to, can you find a pick on the Sivir? Can you find Willie? Or are there options like that?
So
but of course,
hard.
That's right, both of those members have Flash, and more importantly, a Lantern's also available too. So this J4 pick, while I think it did quite well there in the early stages. Yes, that's a good little zoom in there from our observer. Good little highlight.
Yeah,
there,
it's not even mentioning the barrier, the ultimate, the spell shield that Sivir has. It's so difficult to lock down these silent targets. Let alone not even mentioning Corrin, who now 3-0, 350 gold bounty, would seem like a juicy target, but it's the blog. Double distortion dash means that you can never really catch up with her unless you manage to interrupt both parts of her CC, and then CC lock her. Corrin manages to get away, and there's that second distortion. The Cataclysm gets the damage down, but that's all that gets down. Iceling now trying to walk away, but Hypnotic Viper has that second Cyclone. You gotta watch out for number 2. Hypnotic Viper on a rampage, and Warlock should just be the next to go. Double kill for the Wukong.
The team comp from MKD early game it's beginning to fall here, and when you're down a deficit of gold the way that you are, it just becomes so much harder for you to be able to deal with things. That Wukong isn't even level 11, 2 points in the ultimate, 2 items is when that Wukong really starts to come online. So Hypnotic Viper at 5-0 right now with that score line.
Stacking jungle item.
It's so difficult at this point right now when you really think about it. MKD, of course, you still have opportunities to get back into this game, but it's an uphill battle once again, just like in game 1 here. So we'll see if they're able to find some sort of a miracle here to at least potentially get back into this game. But with the way that Ice is playing, how they're controlling the pace of the game, getting their setups for the vision control on all these neutrals ahead of time, it seems very difficult for MKD.
Yeah, and we saw them do it so well in game number 1. Like, despite the fact that they were so far behind in the early game, it didn't go the way they wanted to. They found good side lane plays. They found good opportunities to take unfair fights. I'd love to see them do it again because I want to see this series go to 3. Because I think, depending on how the bracket sets up, this is a potential playoff match as Corrin, looking for a little poke, manages to get about a quarter health off of Bobo. Now Lepafo's the one in trouble as Bobo, not exactly in the right position without flash on the Nami, is going to be able to manage to stay alive for way longer as Lepafo's going to get chased down instead. Corrin will pick that one up. Iceling flag drags over the wall, but it's into the waiting arms of Tennessee and Corrin. Suddenly on the wrong spot. Bobo goes down. Iceling goes down. And man, oh man, it's a rough one. But it looks like Ice continue to hold dominance.
Yeah, and of course, as we do see this replay here, Ilpafo in the side is going to be the one who's focused here first. And once you get split up, especially when you're this amount of gold behind, it becomes that much harder for you to be able to do with anything here. Jacob, though.
Oh, we got to play in the mid lane. Just flash over the wall from Willie. Just no fear. Comes in on top of Jacob. Will manage to get one back. And Not Viper's going to take a couple of shots here. And now with Warlock in the area, something maybe they can turn it around. Warlock flashes forward for that Glacial Prison. Finds himself 1,000 gold shutdown Husky Templar. Takes that passive to the face, but is not feeling too afraid of the rest of the damage. So they'll manage to make it a 2-for-1 and a good counterpunch from MKD off of a pretty big mistake from Ice.
Yeah, and Jacob definitely is sitting duck in that process, but the turret damage is just there at this point right now. Without that mid-tier 1 being broken, that's really the turret that opens up a lot of the map. Of course, if it's
also
left
the
up,
jungler.
that's right, multiple turret shots come through. It's so difficult for you to actually be able to pull off that dive, especially with no real tank to be able to facilitate that. As Bobo's having such a hard time here, Brady.
Yeah, this is the issue when you get behind as Nami. You are a squishy enchanter. If you're ever without one of your big beefy tanks in front of you, you are going to eat like 2/3 to 3/4 of your health. And yeah, you got the tidal wave for some sustain, but it takes a while to get yourself back up to full. And you really want to be behind your team with members. If you're ever off on your own, you are so weak.
Ice doing a really good job of just notifying themselves where the rest of these members are. You can see those distortions.
Warlock walking forward, doesn't have ulti, doesn't have flash. Willie's just gonna find that kill. Iceling wants to engage onto the backline. Husky Templar's inside the Cataclysm, but does he even care? He'll find a flash out, but Corrin will eat the 80 carry for breakfast. Iceling will fall as well, and Ice set themselves over to Soul Point again. Hypnotic Viper, though, not done. Wants to continue the chase, has found Bobo. Takes a little bite out of some fish, enjoying some sushi here in game number 2. Ilpafo is going to continue to run away. I think Hypnotic Viper could potentially die here. It'll be an ace, but it'll be traded 1-for-1.
Yeah, with the way it's being pushed, Ice is 100% coming out on top of that. Of course, you got the soul in the process there too. So at the end of the day, the sequence just goes continuously like bad to worse for the side of MKD. And you can appreciate what they're trying to do. You could notice that Ilpafo, he was trying to sit in the enemy jungle. And I'm glad we're going to be able to see this here. This is after the fact of being able to spot out the Urgot. And if you can't find those flanks, and of course in this front to back, it's so difficult. You're trying to find some sort of engage. You're hoping that you can find one member to pick off, but the rest of the members of Ice are just doing such a good job grouping here. They're being able to control space. That's exactly it, right? That's really what you're paying attention to. It's just so much damage there coming through, and you just can't do anything about it. If you can't find those flanks, you can't find those picks, you aren't able to cross map, then you're not winning really at all here. In Hypnotic Viper, 110% is online right now. It's so difficult here. And being able to go 1-for-1 is kind of nice for Ilpafo, but you just lose so much on the map after this too, right? You're going to lose all these bot minions, you're going to lose that tier 2, you're going to lose the dragon, you're going to lose 4 or 5 members in the process. It's like, it's not so good, Brady.
Yeah, we already see the 5-0 LeBlanc has picked up her Magi's. That's 10 stacks on that thing already. Husky Templar's also picked up those extra upgraded boots, so has Corrin. And again, I don't want to keep saying it, but when you're playing a squishier support, when you're playing a squishier composition like this MKD team, if you get behind against bursty targets like this Wukong, like this LeBlanc especially, life can get so difficult for you as Warlock does have the Frozen Path. A beautiful hook from Willie is going to find the right target. And again, Sushi's on the menu, exhaust down. The Cyclone's up as well. Warlock uses that ultimate and is just going to get hooked up again. A double kill over to Templar. And it really does feel like Ice have just locked the series away from themselves.
Good flash from Iceling. I suppose, at the very least, you're going to remain alive, but your turret is definitely not here, as is the inhibitor. Those are going to be going down. You can see Corrin in that top side pressuring now, so 3 of these lanes are going to be hammered at the same time here. That turret's 1 HP. Good chance of corruption, but look at the damage, Britty.
Woo! Corrin just putting on a clinic. We'll give over 1,000 gold to Jacob, but how much do you care about giving over that shutdown gold when the Nexus turrets are the target? Bobo gets a nice bubble, but it's not going to find much else. First Nexus turret is going to go. Iceling just can't find an engage opportunity. There's no way for him to walk in. Warlock doesn't have ulti. Can they defend their Nexus turrets here? Iceling wants to find the all-in, gets the Cataclysm on the Husky Templar, but do they have the damage? Through the barrier, through everything, Jacob will finally pick him up, but he's already lost 2 teammates. Flash forward for Willie. Will not manage to find the hook, hits the minion instead as Jacob is just gliding on the Varus. He'll manage to keep the team alive for a little longer. A double kill for the Varus. Viper will manage to walk away, but a little overzealous push from Ice is punished by MKD.
Yeah, Iceling really the highlight of that team fight there, being able to land the Cataclysm on top of Husky Templar with no flash and no lantern available means that the Sivir's just a sitting duck, and that's exactly what we saw there. Jacob's able to free hit in the process, gets a lot of gold off of the back of that sequence there, and while things don't look great for you as MKD, that absolutely gives you a big gold infusion, and that's exactly what you need here now. Of course, we can also see that
Pafo doesn't manage to find the Fear Beyond Death. I think if that lands, Corrin does die, but now it's just going to be a matter of the chase down from LeBlanc. Flashes away from that distortion. The Sigil of Alice doesn't do enough damage. Pafo will manage to walk away from that play, if only just.
And now we're going to see this replay here. This is the initial engage here, and Willie just on point with these hooks is able to land that there. As soon as one lands, you know that the cooldown is going to be reduced, and of course Warlock with that exhaust, there's just no chance that you're going to be able to survive. And when one member goes down, more than likely 2 are going to follow suit. You can see Iceling working in the wings to try to get some sort of a camp back. Flag and drag over. Unfortunately, you're going to have to flash, but this is where we see that first Rift Herald crash. You're going to see the second Rift Herald crash in that bot side turret, but we'll pay attention to
here's what happened top lane.
Yeah, Jacob.
I didn't think he thought it was a 1v2.
No, there's no way.
Yeah, his corruption. Yeah, no vision.
Look at the damage too. It's crazy. Take a couple turret shots. Like
that's crazy.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard. As we see the Adicon and that PIP in the bottom right being taken here, and you pretty much just cross your T's and dot your I's as Ice. This one sequence here is fantastic, right? We're going to pay attention. The Lantern is on cooldown. You can see it right next to that one turret that's been taken down, and that's where you find your timer with this Jarvan here. That Cataclysm comes through.
Look
and
how long Husky Templar takes to actually fall through the barrier, the locket, the heal. It takes him so long to actually lock down the AD carry that Iceling will die alongside Bobo, and once those 2 members are down, Jacob just doesn't have any peel left.
That's right. Willie, you saw him flash in there. He got the flay, and he tried to land the hook, but it just barely missed. Probably 2-3 pixels off, and actually hooked a minion in the process. Had that hook have landed on Jacob. Had that hook have landed, of course, you're going to get that kill on Varus. Maybe you end the game off of it, but of course, MKD is able to stay alive there. Adicon is secured for Ice, and now it feels like, at this point, the inevitable. The inhibitor.
Yeah, they've got Adicon. They've got Soul. They've got that bot side inhibitor. The middle one is open as well. Yeah, the top side is pushing out for them as Ilpafo is going to make sure to push that one away. But when their other 2 waves and their other 2 lanes of your base are starting to get pushed in, how much does that matter really as Bobo will manage to avoid those chains and not manage to get caught by that. Hook onto Warlock. It's not the target they want, though. They're still going to do quite a decent chunk to them. MKD, you have to make an engage happen. You have to find some way to pull the trigger here, because if you get pulled on, suddenly it's bad. As Husky Templar has the Lantern this time, will manage to get out of the Cataclysm. That's a big engage tool down. And here goes the other one. It says bubble onto 3, but there's just no follow-up. A nice knockup from Iceling, but where's the damage? Where's the damage from Monkeys? It's just not there. They'll find one off the Lysandra passive, but Jacob now the target. He's going to get auto-attacked down. He'll find one in return, but 3v2 left alone inside the base. Ice are going to clean up the series. 2-0. Papo and Bobo trying to avoid fate as much as they can. But with Willie still alive, still landing hooks. I don't think they're much longer for this world. Chains are going to land on El Papo. He'll get a nice buffer out. Another hook. Another kill. Another game for Ice. And they will manage to take first place in the group.
The standings looked so even, but when it came down to it, the actual matchup was just anything but. Just the difference there from Iceborn Black, they really showed up tonight. There's no question about it. It seemed like they did their homework in the draft phase. They set themselves up really well in Game 1 and in Game 2 to be able to actually execute the team comps that they drafted. But more importantly, it really did come down to simply the execution. Like, the way that they played Game 1 in the early game was just fantastic. They set things up here. As we do see this final replay coming through, I was a little bit hesitant, and Brittany, I was wondering if they'd be able to close out on these 2 inhibitors here, but of course when you see this engage, the Lantern's still available.
It's just
nullifies the J4. It really is at this point, right? You see Warlock too fishing for something, but as soon as the knockup lands, you're forced to self-ult, and at this point right now, it seems okay. The 3-man bubble looks good, but Il Pafo's ult is actually going to hit the clone. All the damage coming through is tempting, but at this point right now, as long as you have Husky Templar and Corrin safe in the backline, which you do, Hypnotic Viper still has the ultimate, you're going to see that channeled, and Jacob's just a sitting duck right here. There's nothing that you could do. The boomerangs are bouncing left, right, and center, and it really just is about playing clean and concise at this point. Take your time, and we're really watching Willie constantly here. Both of these carries are doing a really good job at spacing away from the members, but it's these hooks consistently that are landing, that are making all of the difference here. And the last one is nice because you can land that easily on a rooted target, as we do see Willie just take one more for the team there, but big highlight there for me, and at the end of the day, it would have to be my series MVP for Iceborn Black. And game 1, fantastic on the Alistar. Game 2, even better on the Thresh.
Yeah, I did misspeak there. Iceborn Black cannot take first place as they did lose the head-to-head versus Neogen. So assuming that Neogen does win their series today, head-to-head takes precedence over game score. Neogen will take possession of first place as long as they win their series versus Dorado Theta, which is the assumed outcome, but we've seen bigger upsets here in Vanquisher. So it's always possible that Ice can take first place, but it's just going to be a matter of how does that Neogen series go? Or MKD, are they in second? Are they in third? I think they're either in third. Yeah, they're guaranteed to be in third. So it's just going to be a matter of Ice and NGE, who's first and who's second.
That's it. At this point right now, of course, it does just come down to seeding. You want to be in that higher tier, obviously, to give you that easier first opponent in that first round. So at the end of the day, I mean, you look at it, Monkey's Doom, I think there was a couple good highlights for them. In Game 1, they found that one pick around the soul point, but this is a great series for them to be able to watch and really pinpoint where they went wrong. And I think I could probably chalk it up pretty quickly for them in Game 1. I think they shouldn't have pathed away from their bot lane. I think absolutely they had to be able to focus on bot as much as possible. You know that bot lane is going to get pushed in consistently, and you can see if a team like Iceborn Black is able to get that advantage in the bot lane, they're not stagnant. They swap constantly. They're constantly moving from bot to top to contest for the grubs, and then from top to bot to contest for the second dragon. So that's something that you could easily adapt to and make those changes. It could very well be more of a meta-defining style now where it's all about the strong 2v2 bot lane. So if that's something that you could focus on and get dialed in, then you could easily do to other teams what was done to you tonight. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing too, if you're looking at it for game number 2, there were some good highlights, right? We saw the level 2 gank from Iceling on the J4 making those plays happen in that bot side, but it seemed like they weren't able to really sync up as a team as much as what maybe they were hoping to do when it came down to any sort of neutral real contest. I don't think they got, did they get a single dragon, Britty, in this entire series?
No,
I don't think they did.
They did manage to stop the soul. I don't remember if they got it in game number 1. No, they did. They ended up picking up that dragon. So they got one dragon at soul point in game number 1. But I think the real big thing for the series is obviously MKD. You've got a little bit to work on. For Iceborn, this is a confidence game. This was another team in your group that was 5-1. They were on a huge undefeated streak. They lost in week 1 and they have not lost since. Now losing 2-0 to you, you're feeling a lot better going into playoffs. Well, I think you're first or second seed. I think you're pretty happy with the result. But I think the big deal is for the other teams that are in the playoffs, either Group C, D, or A, this is a series to watch to see what your competition is going to be like, especially in this Iceborn squad, because I think this is a team that is going to make a deep, deep playoff run, if not make it all the way to the finals. This is a strong team.
I would not be surprised one bit if we're casting them again very soon, Birdie. Not at
I
all.
wouldn't be
The way
shocked.
the way that they played that, the way that they played this series was just phenomenal. Right away, even from game one, setting up that first tower dive there off the Alistar level 6 with that lane swap. Just like little things like that make a
Just
big
good League of
difference.
Legends.
And you can just tell it's calculated. The decision is made ahead of time. It is not something that's reactive. It's not something that's done on the fly. It's nope, this is what we're setting up for. Make sure that we're ready for this dive. We're stacking a wave. I'm going to get 6 on Alistar. We're going to pull trigger and we're going to go. And that's exactly what we saw from them time and time again.
Yeah, again, I think this is a big series to watch, whether you're learning how to play better League of Legends, if you're going to be a team that's facing Iceborn, or if you are Iceborn and you want to see how
Yeah.
good you are, if you want to hype yourself up coming into playoffs. But that is going to be it for us tonight. I want to thank you all so much for joining us. I've been What's It Birdie. That's been Turk, our producer and observer, Shivam and Anti, making sure everything runs as smoothly as possible on the back end. We appreciate you all being here, and we'll come back next week once we get started with the playoffs. See you then.
See you then.